He has a 1-1 count. That one's struck high. Left side. That one's going. That's out of here off the ropes. You have to be kidding me. Fireworks. Here you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and welcome all inside High and Tight, the flagship show, part of the IA Baseball Network, and all things covering baseball from the high school ranks to the professional level right here. Thanks again for joining us. I am Andrew Brown. Joining me shortly will be Cade Nissen as we talk just more about high school ball, and really appreciate you coming along for the show, brought to you in part by Victory Mounds. Now, for all those ladies and gentlemen out there, anything that has to do with the field itself, Victory Mounds is your go-to. That's right, from the pitching rubber on the pitching mound all the way to the bases, home plate, area around home plate, and the playability of your field. Guys, these guys know what they're doing. Craig Allison, who's the national sales executive, is another journeyman in the industry. He's seen what works. He's seen what doesn't work. And, of course, Mike Donahoe, who's in charge of products and equipment. He knows what to get at premium quality without the premium price, right? So they know how to suit you up and get you ready for the what is a gauntlet of a year, seasonal wise, right? It doesn't matter. The summer, spring, there's a lot that takes onto that field weather wise, and these guys have you covered. And their service after the sale that goes so beyond anything you've ever seen. Check them out. Check out their website, victorymounds.com. All questions are answered. Do so today at victorymounds.com. I also want to say a shout out to some of our other sponsors, including Insolites.com, and of course, all renewed as well with the great folks at Hitting Approach. Just got in touch with them today. Really looking forward to what we can do with Hitting Approach. And I gotta say, if you haven't and you're a coach, join the Hitting Approach way. That's right. Hitting Approach is the real deal. They're the app they're the app you can download on any device, and you get post-game reports right after the game. How much better could you get, right? And it sends questionnaires out to every one of your players on their phones so they can answer questions about their performance, and they can evaluate themselves and get ready for the next game right after. It is truly that simple, and they've got everything. They've got everything from spreadsheets, charts, graphs, and a whole lot more. Hey, we'll go ahead and take a look at it later, but man, check out their website at hittingapproach.com. They have all the looks right there on it. It shows you an example of every detail, even swing and misses. What's that look like? What is your swings? How productive are your hits? Gosh, can't ask for more. So check them out at hittingapproach.com. And of course, RDA Financial, they help bring us our prospect planner piece, but Chad and everybody out there, they know money. They know it to a T. But beyond that, they are people who are in your community. So please check them out today at RDA Financial. Wherever you can get them, they are the real deal. RDA Financial, check them out online as well. All right, we got a lot to look at here. We're going to bring up some opening day looks. We're going to see all about what we can and just give another glimpse of the 2024 season ahead. And to help that out, I bring in the one and only kind of Swiss Army knife himself, Cade Nissen, joining me here. Cade, you and I have been talking. We talk about these teams. There's these lists that we bring out, and I mean, honestly, there's so much hype surrounding this year, and it's not just from what we're putting out. There's a lot of teams out there that when we hit the ground running, a lot of these teams are in mid-shape, mid-season form right off the bat. We're so lucky we have that. But there's so many good players and so many good programs that it's hard and harder to put these kind of lists together.
Yeah, we were just talking before the show about the Class 3A, the pitching and the and the offensive list, and it was tough. I mean, there's so many teams to mention. There's so many athletes to mention. Speaking of the athletes, our sophomore standouts, Andrew, coming tomorrow. We worked extremely hard on it. Again, this list was based off of guys who really impacted their programs last year as
Mhm.
freshmen. So for those of you who don't know, that's what this list is mainly based off of. We take into account some other things, but that's
Mhm.
really what it's going off of, kind of stats based, so that we can be, we can step back and take a look at the numbers and not have anything else factor in. But super excited to bring that. I feel like we found a lot of guys who kind of maybe undervalued last year. I mean, stepping in as a freshman in high school and impacting your high school baseball program is really, really cool. And so we got 150 plus guys on this list. So, I mean, there's well over 100 programs mentioned. I mean, we've got a few teams that have multiple guys on there, but we did our best to kind of spread out and get as many guys on this list as possible. So super excited for you guys to see that. If you're not subscribed to Rockfin, as we say every week, tons of stuff coming. I mean, freshman phenoms are out, sophomore standouts. We'll get juniors and seniors coming. Our preseason rankings are on there. I mean, there's so much cool stuff on there, and it's just the start. I mean, we haven't even started practice yet, and I feel like we've got a ton of really, really good stuff over there on Rockfin. So super excited for everyone to see that. If you have a player on that list or multiple players on the list and want personalized graphics, go ahead and DM us, message us on Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be. Send a picture of your athlete, and I'd love to make something for you guys. But yeah, it's a busy time, and it's only going to get busier. But that's a good thing, because I mean, baseball's here, and Andrew, I know you and I are both ready to grind and really cover this sport like no one ever has before. So we're pumped.
Yeah, and again, I mean, to echo all that, I mean, truly, it's a one-stop shop for things. I mean, anything you could want, and it's kind of a la carte. What do you want? What do you want to see? What do you want in there? And so, ultimately, your input out there, everybody, is what drives us. Hence,
Yes.
one of our last shows, we talked about underrated players from your comments, and that's truly. I don't think there's ever been a lot of entities out there that do that. And but honestly, you guys are there at the games. You see them. We don't get to every game, but you do. So we really want to make sure to have your input as well in there. And again, help support us by heading to Rockfin. But again, a lot of ways you can catch us, message us, and more. If you want, if you want photos, videos, shows, we can go ahead and do our show live there. And whatever you want, let us know. But hit us up. As we go through, Cade, a lot, I will say, you again, sporting that Sox hat you got on, I think, I want to say, first off, just to get it out of the way, I feel for you, man. I do. And
Yeah.
I noticed you did a challenge, a fitness challenge. And,
Yeah.
and so, one, how fit are you now with 14 losses down for the Sox already?
15. I just watched 15 right here, Andrew.
Okay, I haven't been up to date. 15 losses right now. Have you found yourself getting significantly more swole or just fit?
Yeah, for those who don't know, I think it'd be cool to implement this somehow into our high school baseball season. Some sort of challenge, like maybe the coaches take part, but no. So for each loss, I have to do 15 push-ups and sit-ups for each run. So like a few nights ago, they lost by 10. I mean, that's 150 of each. And if they win, I only have to do 5. But sadly, I have not been able to experience that a lot. I've been keeping track. I mean, I think counting today, I'm going to be right around 900 push-ups and sit-ups. So I'm heading to the gym right after this show. I'm gonna get caught up. I'm like 100 behind, but I can get caught up with that. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun to keep up with them, but it's not very fun when I see them losing by 6 and I do the math and I'm like, that's a lot of push-ups and sit-ups. But no, it'd be kind of cool to implement that somehow into our high school baseball season. We'll have to think of some creative way or some creative challenge for people to kind of follow along and do with their own teams. But
Yeah.
I mean, Braves, you'd be doing nothing. You'd just be chilling.
Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with it right now. I'm already thinking ahead. I'm already, maybe fast tracking. I'm already thinking ahead. I'm hoping that we have some young guns come to pick up Strider's absence, but know, it's hey, I've been through some lean years. I've seen some of that, so I feel
It's
I feel your pain.
yeah, it's not fun. I only have to watch them every day until the high school baseball season starts, and then once that gets going, I'll be busier and at games every night, and I won't have to sit and watch the White Sox play. But dang it, I love them, so I'll sit through it. But
Yeah.
it's not as fun as I'd like.
Hey, I hear. Hey, before too long, they'll be back at it, and we'll all be saying, "Oh man, the rebuild's over." So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as we go along, any thoughts on any creative takes? Let us know. We'd love to hear that from you as well. We're always up for anything. This is all about fun as we engage in things. And so, speaking about engagement, now what I thought, man, we get a little bit of the picking out of the way here. And I say picking because we love to do the spin the wheel. We love to go ahead and look at rankings that you can find on Rockfin if you go ahead and subscribe. But we give a little tidbit away now as we reveal a ranking. We spin the wheel, we see where we're at, we get there, and we have some fun with it. I think we've hit up almost every class so far, and we've had a lot of fun with it. We get the chance to dive into that team, and so really fun, really fun exercise. So again, we continue on that. We spin the wheel, and again, what you can do if you want to see the full length, you don't want to have to go through this every week. I mean, it's fun. But if you want to just get the full deep dive right away, head on over, get subscribed at rockfin.com and /iabaseball and get all that content, which you can get for free or way ahead of the rest of the public. So it's a lot of fun. So I am hoping that we get a little bit, and I say 3A, Cade, because I've been doing my 3A offenses list. So you and I have been kind of deep into the 3A stuff so far, so that would be fantastic to talk on. I'm okay if whatever we do. So I think we should get ready and rolling and rearing, and let's get picking. All right, so we're gonna share that screen here as we take a look. Again, I love it when we get those feeds, and then they ask why are you taking us away? Anyway. Again, we got our class 1A, 3A, 4A, and I think I got sound on just to make it fun for you guys. So here we go. Let's spin the wheel for picking a class. Here we go. Where are we at? Nobody knows except for 4A.
I'm good with 4A.
So we are in class 4A. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and find what team we're going to reveal. We may have to redo a couple spins because the spinner loves to land on the same thing we've already done. So let's go ahead and spin here for who exactly. It's a fun wheel. I wish they had a little different color scheme, but oh well. So we landed on number 4. Now we can do 4 or we can spin again.
I think we could do 4. I don't think we've really talked about this team a ton.
All right. I'm game. All right, so let the reveal happen. I have no drum roll, but here we go.
It is Cedar Rapids Kennedy, preseason number 4 in class 4A.
Cedar Rapids Kennedy. Man, I loved what I saw out of Kennedy last year. I absolutely loved it. The only thing is, there was kind of this weird wind at the end of the season. When you got to the postseason, and all of a sudden we're going, we don't have any Cedar Rapids, any top Cedar Rapids teams in the state tournament, and we all were thinking that was almost a foregone conclusion. But I think Kennedy was really exciting to watch what they had, what they put out there. I link it to consistency. I mean, honestly, there was a lot of consistency with what they had. Honestly, they just got bases. They were Mr. Base. I mean, honestly, second in 4A in total bases. And you know what? They racked up a lot. I mean, they were one of just, I believe, 2 teams. Let me make sure on that. Yeah, 2 teams in all of 4A to have over 100 doubles. Over 100 doubles, 101 to be exact, second only to Ames. And the next closest on that, 86 from Johnston. So what you saw there was a team that found a way to get extra base crazy. And we mentioned, and when we take a look at it, this was a team that honestly, they were, I believe, top 10 for sure. Yep, top 10 in batting average balls in play at 376. And this was a team that just found a way to get onto the base paths. Again, baseball can be a fickle sport, and we didn't get to see all that glory in the state tournament. But I think this is a team that, yes, despite a little turnover here and there, this is a team that's hard not to place in the top 5.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, the offense returns a ton, and I mean, even the pitching staff, you're returning two 50 plus inning guys. Both of those guys won 7+ games last year. I mean, Mather himself and Jay Scott. I mean, those guys are going to lead the way and throw a ton of innings for the Cougars.
Yeah.
And when you look at their schedule, they had some really, really good wins. I mean, they had a doubleheader sweep over the 4A runner-up in Ames, and they won both those games by 11+ runs.
Yeah.
So I mean, they had a win over 3A state champ in Western Dubuque. I know they're a class bigger, but that's still impressive nonetheless. Hung with Centennial, lost 5-7. They split with Prairie. But yeah, you're totally right. I think we were pretty confident in them and Prairie both making it, and both of them fell a little short. They lost to Cedar Falls and got swept in a doubleheader just before the regular season ended. And I remember seeing that matchup in the sub-state game against Cedar Falls, and I'm like, this is the perfect bounce back. You lost to them twice. It's really hard to beat a good team 3 times.
Yep.
And I think that's partly why I was really confident in Kennedy making it. But obviously Cedar Falls ended up getting the shutout win 2-0 and moving on. And obviously they were a semifinalist at the Class 4A state tournament. So no slouch there by any means. But no doubt Kennedy, high hopes, number 4, really good spot. They're really highly ranked. I mean, they're behind the 3 teams they're behind are also really, really good. So Kennedy, I mean, it's state tournament time for them. It's time for them to make a run. And I mean, they're going to put up a ton of stats. They're going to hit, they're going to pitch, they're going to field. They're well coached. Stole 96 bases last year. Definitely a team that's going to be very, very high on our radar here at IA Baseball heading into the season.
And the fact that this is a team, again, I find that the postseason can be so fickle because this is a team that had roughly over 14 10+ run games. That's hard to do in 4A. And they did that. And of course, the game that they ended up losing out there, again, really close, 1 game away from from going to state, is where they don't score any. And as I was looking through all of this, I don't see a single game on the list in which they were shut out. And so it's just, and again, baseball works in weird ways. The one time you do get shut out happens to be the end. We saw Centennial, and they had their downslide, and of course, late in the season, losing to Sioux City North, and of course, their postseason didn't end up the way they wanted it either. So it's just weird. But ultimately, what you mentioned it, this is a team that brings back firepower on both sides. And I think that within the conference that they reside, there's not a whole lot that the Mississippi Valley, or I guess the Valley Division, doesn't offer. Right? And they offer competitiveness. They offer games that are just going to give you a grind, and they prepare you for what's coming up. So ultimately, I'm with you there. The fact that they were able to go through and they were 1 game away says a lot still. But in the end, they put a lot of wins and good wins up last season. So again, they were our top 2 offense. Their top 2 offense, and of course, they were a top 10 pitching staff as well. So what's not to say that they won't be doing it again here in 2024? So
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, but a lot. And speaking about 2024, Cade, I think it's time now. Let's dive into some of those games, right? I'm jacked. I know you're jacked, as you already had mentioned. I'm really jacked and stoked. And guys, however, if you're jacked about it, come along with us and enjoy the fun. From all of our reels, all of our stuff that Cade does, and of course, all of our shows, images, and more. Follow along with us and come along with us. I know that we'll we'll be live, loud, and proud at games across the state as well. So it's going to be fun. But as we look at, as I go ahead and try and bring up what's coming up for 2024, I think we'll go ahead and try and narrow down some of our most exciting games. I mean, ultimately, you could give all 162 that are happening. To be honest, Kate, it's hard to look at it and go, man, this is more exciting than the other. We're not saying that. What we're saying is there's just a lot of games, and we tried to narrow down our best.
Yeah, no doubt. I know I made that little swipe graphic earlier. That was like my personal top 5 favorite. I tried to stick to, teams that were both ranked in our preseason rankings to kind of stick to that. But when I look back at it, I mean, there's a lot of really, really good games that I see. I think in my head, because I'm going to be at a game, I'm going to have graphics ready for all these good games. I usually make pre-made graphics for like the really the games of the night or whatever. And I'm gonna have a lot of graphics I'm gonna have to make because there's a lot of good games, and there's gonna be a lot of big names thrown. Obviously, opening night, you're assuming you're gonna see the aces on the hill, and that's gonna cause for some intriguing matchups. These early season matchups, Andrew, are where you really get to see some top tier lower class teams go against teams in a bigger class than them and see how they match up. I think of Beckman Catholic right off the bat. They're always testing themselves early in the year with teams ahead of them. So I think it's really, really fun to see some of these small schools and some of these big schools collide and just show that it doesn't matter what class you're in. You're playing the same game, and there's no disadvantage either way. I mean, besides the enrollment, you're playing the same game. You're on the same field, and you got the same goal, and that's to score more runs than the other team. So, Andrew, what do you want to do? You want to just like trade off and kind of talk about some?
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean,
I'll defer to you.
Okay, well, first off, and I initially when I thought about this, I didn't go necessarily by class. We can if we want, but one of the games that I looked at, and again, I looked at that one. Okay, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. I went through the whole alphabet, to be honest, when I looked at this. But a game that I am really intrigued by are teams that first off I think could make a state tournament run. And both of these have had good pitching staffs and good offense. Sioux City North versus Harlan. That's at North in Sioux City. We both have been really high on what Sioux City North was able to do. Shunk and company. I mean, they were on point last year. So close, they just missed out. Abraham Lincoln kind of took them down in the end, but. Sioux City North is truly a team that's going to be fun to watch this year. I think they started what was a really good progression. They don't miss out on a ton. And then they go against Harlan, who's been a storied program over the last, how many years. And, I mean, ultimately, Harlan's, we saw them last year. Unfortunately, they ran into the buzzsaw that was Western Dubuque, and a lot of teams ended up running into it. But ultimately, this is a team that's had 20 state tournament appearances. You get into rarefied air now with teams that have had double-digit state tournament appearances, let alone into the 20s. And, overall, I mean, they could add to that 23-17 mark in terms of the state tournament record. Not many teams get that. So you got Lineage here going up against a team in Sioux City North who has had some really good guys come out of there as well. Daniel Tillo and company, some major league guys that we have had on this show as well. Robert Newstrom, he was a guy that also went to Iowa. He came out of Sioux City North. So there's been a lot of guys that have come up through both programs and have been very stellar. I like what I see here. I know I've been talking a lot on that match, but I like it. These two teams, I swear, may not be at the very top of everybody's radar right now, but they're teams that you cannot ignore. And at this point, Cade, people dog on schedules, but you can't dog on Harlan's schedule. And no matter what you want to say about Sioux City North, you can't do that either. These teams have proven it, and they've proven that they're here to stay.
Yeah, I really like that one. And speaking of schedules, I'll kind of go with an under the radar one as well.
Yep.
I've got my eye on Valley and Ottumwa, and it's for the pitching match. I feel like a lot of people kind of dog on Atumwa because they play in the Iowa Alliance. It might not be the CIML level of Class 4A in that kind of area, but they're going to get a shot on opening night to go against a CIML squad. And I mean, obviously, when you think of opening day, you think of Aces throwing. So I mean, I'm going to assume we're going to see Tucker Long throw against
Gotta.
maybe Jeff Rose of Valley. He was
Yeah.
solid in the last year. So I'm trying to spy those under the radar ones because there's the big ones, there's the
Oh yeah.
obvious ones, but this team is a team that returns a lot, and they're ranked in our Class 4A preseason poll, and they're gonna have some. I know they're gonna have haters just because of who they're gonna play a lot of the season, and so these chances that they're gonna get against these bigger schools, it's gonna mean more to them. And obviously, last year I was at their opening round playoff game where they took down Waukee. I was really impressed. That was the first time I got to see Tucker in person. And it's not even just Tucker. They return a ton of guys outside of him. So Atumwa, I mean, I think that's a sneaky matchup there. Valley and Atumwa. There's my pick.
Oh man. And what's not to love about those guys? I mean, truly. I mean, Tumwa swiped a lot of bags last year, and you know what? Valley, they were pretty stingy when it came to that at times. So that's kind of that's definitely a button heads there, and it's ultimately it's going to be fun. I will say though that I think people can, again, after just the first year, I think people should not dog on the Iowa Alliance Conference as much because you know what? One of the two teams left standing was an Iowa Alliance team in Ames. So I'm just saying you can go ahead and say what you will, but at the end of the day, one of the two teams left standing was from the Iowa Alliance. So I think that goes to show a lot. It goes to show something at least.
Yeah, no doubt.
Uh, Going through some more games here. Gosh, there's so many I want to pick. I'm gonna try and narrow it down again. There's games that we've already put out there. We're gonna try and mix that up, is what we're doing here as well. As I look down the list, oh man, I do love a lot. I am very interested to see. You know, I love what Coach Suling and company are doing at Dubuque Senior. And I know that we talked about Kennedy. Kennedy's a juggernaut. Seniors, they seem to be on the right track and going well. This is going to be a big test for them, one of the biggest tests that they will see this year. And it comes right out of the gates. And I love the fact, again, the coaching staff has been there. They've been pushing hard about getting alumni back to see Dubuque Senior games. And you know, the atmosphere doesn't matter where. Dubuque baseball is absolutely amazing, and it's really energetic. And this is going to be huge. Of course, this game being at Kennedy, I think that this is going to be a game where I think Dubuque could be a big sleeper. I think Dubuque Senior could be a very big sleeper. Cedar Rapids Kennedy, they're going to come out. They're going to come out fighting though. So this kind of is a more abstract kind of a look, but I like what Coach Soy and company are doing, and I love the organicness of it. So I know it's kind of abstract thought here, Cade, but I like them. I like what their chances are this year. And I think that even though they're away to start the season, I think they got a good shot, and it's going to be a good game.
Love it. I'll move down to a lower class here, and I'm not gonna lie. I think I might have missed this one when I was skimming over when I made that graphic because I got a Class 2A sub-state rematch, West Marshall and Williamsburg. Now,
Yes.
if you remember, these guys played to go to state 1-0. It was, and it was Williamsburg coming out on top in extra innings. And obviously, you think of the pitching, you think of Owen Seegert. I mean, strikeout king, 133 of them last year. And Williamsburg didn't just beat them once last year; they beat them twice. They played on opening day last year as well, and they got Seegert. They put 4 on him in that one, and they won 4-1. And then they face again to go to state, and they get them 1-0. Trey O'Neill was the Williamsburg pitcher in both of those games. He struck out 13 on opening day, and then in that sub-state game, he struck out 12. So he was a senior. He's gone. It looks like, if I had to guess, from the Raiders roster. It's going to be Niall Sin, who also had an incredible year last year. But
Yeah.
I always love seeing those early the opening day rematches of teams that faced late in the season last year. One team's looking to prove a point and keep the trend, and the other one's hungry because their season ended at the hands of the other team last season. So West Marshall and Williamsburg, that could be a fun one. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be another 1-0, 2-0 type of game, and Seagert's gonna get a shot his senior year to beat a team that he's lost to twice already. So I'll go ahead and circle that one.
I can't agree with you more on that one. Man, that's fun.
A fun one.
I wish more and more that we would see that. I wish that the schedule would start to be made right after the postseason is made, because I mean you do that with baseball, right? And with MLB, I should say. You do that with MLB. You get games like Braves Phillies, and you get games that were big postseason must watches last year. And it's kind of like chance for the other team to get one over, finally get that one. It may not have mean as much as a postseason win or loss, but
Right.
man, that's kind of cool, right? I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
I want to match you a little bit with that, and on a team that both of us have been pretty high on. We've loved, and that is, well, in both of these teams really, Pleasantville versus Ankeny Christian. And I say this game because over the last 2 to 3 years, Ankeny Christian, remember, I think 2 years ago they had a 16-0 start, or 14-0 start, and they shot out of the gates, and they just couldn't be beat. And unfortunately, their postseason run ended earlier than they wanted, or anybody I think wanted. But that was a team that really had a lot of a giddy up, and they've become a name over the last 2 to 3 years. Like I've said, a big name. And we matched that with another team who has slowly risen through the ranks. We've had a good underclassmen group from Pleasantville, and now this is a team that could go a long way. This is a team that has a lot of dangerous weapons with them. Ultimately, this is the chance for Pleasantville to kind of even the overall series. Ankeny Christian 3-2 over the last 5 that they have played against each other. I will note, though, that last year, Ankeny Christian didn't end up too well. It was 14-3 in favor of Pleasantville. But again, that's the first time that they had won since the 21 season, which they won just by 1. So when Pleasantville wins, there's a lot of runs scored. When Ankeny Christian wins, there's not a lot of runs scored. So are we going to see the defense? Are we going to see big offense here? That's what I'm curious for. We're interested to see it and how this shakes out. Again, both these teams going to hit the ground running pretty well. I know that they're going to do well coached and all of that. But I'm curious as to what we're going to see, offense or defense. So I tried to match you with a good one here.
That's a really good one. My next one, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna go to the second day, but It's both these teams' first game, so I'd still technically call that opening day. It's a doubleheader, and it's North Polk and Waukee Northwest, and I think that's just. I mean, I don't even know how I have to explain it. It's just going to be electric. These two teams split last year. Waukee Northwest won the first one, 8-2. North Polk won the second one, 3-2. But I mean, it's going to speak for itself. Both these teams very, very high in each of their classes, respected pitching staffs. So that's what I'm excited for. If I had to guess where I'm going to be on the second day of the season, I'm going to say I'm probably going to be at North Polk and Waukee Northwest to check those guys out. Obviously, you got Hunter Cook and Reese Rogge. You're not going to know if they're both throwing because they're going to have conference play starting soon. So you got to kind of pick and choose when you want to deploy those guys. But I mean, even look at Waukee Northwest, they return a ton of guys. Chris Peterson, Grant Miller. I mean, they're returning a lot of guys with a lot of innings. And Waukee Northwest is going to be looking to make a statement. They ended up one game short of the state tournament last year. Really, really tight loss to DCG. They're going to be hungry. I always enjoy catching Waukee Northwest and seeing how they're playing ball. So, and it's another one of those matchups that are cross class, and it's one you're not going to see at the end of the season or in the postseason. So you might as well go and check it out while you can, because like I said, it's not one you're going to see a lot. So North Polk and Waukee Northwest, kind of a obvious one, but nevertheless excited for that.
Oh man, I love Coach Heinen. I really think that him and well, one coach when you have Heinen and Coach Zosky from North Polk on the same field. I mean, the experience level is just off the roof. You gotta love what they bring to the table. They are absolutely just stellar people, and getting to talk with them, I mean that would be a heck of a game because even after a loss, although it stings, those are guys that are willing to talk, and they're willing to talk baseball. They're willing to dive into things, and I know Coach Heinen has gone through quite a lot with this program coming into existence in the very first year they make the state tournament, and then of course taking on Waukee, their rival in the state tournament, and winning that game. I mean, what more could you want out of a program? So absolutely love it. And again, I don't know. I don't know if I can beat that, but I can try and match that. Well, I will. I too. I'm going to go with you on this. I'm going to kind of cheat in a sense, and
okay. I cheated.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I was going to say my cheat day is today. My cheat day is today. I'm going to go into the 3A ranks, and I'm going to go there because two teams that I feel have a big shot at really running the tides here, and that is Bondurant Farrar against Pella. Now, I love this matchup for so many different reasons. Bondurant Farrar last year was knocking on the door of excellence. I mean, they were really close. They really got beat up in the Raccoon River Conference, but I mean, and they beat up a lot of teams. I'm not saying that this was any team that was any far less or any far gone, but I will go ahead and say that with Coach Carlin and company, this is a team that took on a lot of challenges within the conference, and they've really come out on top pretty well. In the end, I'm trying to match. I think they've won 6 out of the last 7 games, or maybe 7 out of the last 8 against Pella, and all of them have been really close games. So there hasn't been a blowout, and ultimately, I think the last blowout came in 2016, 12-1, Pella taking the win there. But this is one where, again, overall, it's been a seesaw battle. I mean, Pella has dominated from 2017 and below. Bondurant Farrar from 2018 on up has really taken the majority of it, owning 7 out of the last so many matchups, 7-6 overall over the course of the last 13. But I love what they've got going for them. Again, the team that battled. And then on the other side, Pella, this is kind of a lineage team at this point, right? You got Case, Kettler for one, who's kind of like, I want to say close to the face of that program. I mean, he's been very high on a lot of scouting from PBR to Perfect Game and beyond. He's been very highly touted. And then you got guys like Sherm, who, again, he comes from a father of a prior coach of Central College. The prior head coach there now works with the scouting agency himself, but his son, I mean, is an absolute mind of the game. And then if you go to Mr. Casey himself, now brother of current head coach of Central Dutch. So what you've got there is a lineage in that program, and you've got just guys that right now there's a lot of names that are going to have to step up for Pella, but in the end, Pella is a team that's going to really do a lot, and they're going to be fun, they're going to be fiery, and they're going to come out. I think, honestly, I picked them to be top 4 in the conference, in the Little Hawkeye Conference, but man, this is a team that's going to be fun. And again, going up against a Bondurant Farrar team that doesn't lose anybody. I think Levi Went is a guy that I remember. He's a name that I remember that was a senior last year. But I know that they have their top 6-7 hitters returning, and again, you're getting up there from 30 total bases on from Bondurant Farrar. So I love the matchup because this is kind of that seesaw battle. Could Pella even up the overall series at 7 apiece, or does Bondurant Farrar kind of take that edge? So This has been a back and forth battle, and two teams that I swear to you will make big waves here in the 2024 year.
No, that's a really good one, Andrew. I like that one a lot. Class 3A is obviously going to be a ton of fun to watch, as it always is. I got one more. I'm
All
going
right.
cross class. Going cross class again. I got Beckman Catholic and North Scott, the
Ooh.
reigning Class 2A state champs. These guys have played every year since 2020. They didn't play in 2019. Beckman Catholic had won in 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Yeah.
North Scott got their get back last year, won 16-8. So I just am fascinated by these cross class ones. North Scott's kind of losing a lot. They lose their top 4 hitters. They return a lot outside of that. They return Kai Smith on the mound. You can't really, you're not going to know who's throwing, obviously, because it's cross class and you're not sure where exactly everyone's going to be deployed. And then Beckman Catholic, you got another team that is coming off a state title, and they're losing some key pieces in Shields and Oberbrockling and Offerman and company, but they also return a solid core. So they're going to be hungry. I mean, Beckman Catholic's hearing what us and everybody else is saying about Underwood, and obviously rightfully so. But Beckman Catholic, for being a state champs, they're gonna be hungry and they're gonna be looking to prove something. So I think we're probably a part of supplying that fuel to them, and that's good. That's what we're here for. We love bringing that aspect. But Beckman Catholic and North Scott, cross class matchup, state champ of a lower class against a really, really solid program in a higher class. Those matchups are always going to be ones you look out for.
Amen to that. Love that, and I think it's going to be interesting. North Scott coming off of their best home run season in quite some time. In fact, one of the top home run hitters in the state, let alone Class 4A. And both teams lose a good bunch. And from North Scott losing their all-time doubles leader, and of course Beckman Catholic, as you mentioned, the drove of guys that do lose. But if anybody can get that team back at it, Coach Mabe and company can. And I love what North Scott has going there too. If I get the chance, man, I want to go to as many games between those two as possible from here on out, because that's nothing but fun. Nothing but fun. But again, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts? Games that you think should be on the docket for us to watch? And we'll let you have some cheat days too. You can go across day 1 and day 2. Again, the 13th is when things all kick off in May, and really excited there. So again, a lot there. So any thoughts? Let us know. Hit us up on social media, wherever you want. You could email us, iabaseball1@gmail.com. However you want to get in touch with us, please do. And also, please look out for, coming on up, our unofficial kickoff to the season, which is on May 5th. We'll be in Cedar Rapids at the Perfect Game Complex, and that is because of Strike Out the Stigma. A phenomenal event here. I got my guy here. I got this guy, Strike Out the Stigma event. Nikki Freese and company do a fantastic job. A lot of good guys there from the Bandana Project, all across it, from student-led to community-led. It's more than just games and scrimmages. It is beyond that. It's really to bring a focus towards mental health. We lost some guys, unfortunately, in the last couple of years. If you see any OS 14 shirts out there, you know what that means, and you know the harm that has come with mental illness. So we'll be talking here shortly with the one and only Ben Zobrist coming on up, former major leaguer, and he runs the Champion Forward Foundation. He'll be the speaker there, but I'm interested to get his thoughts, because he puts out on his website burnout, fatigue, what that brings, and we all have that. But we're never alone, and we're never the only ones out there going through this. So always reach out. So again, that's my just spiel on that. But it's an unofficial way for us to kick off, get you some action before the action, so to speak. We'll be there catching up, and I just got it in, Cade. You don't have to worry, but I just got in our gear, our Strike Out the Stigma gear. So I got your shirt, your drawstring backpack there. You don't have to worry about that. We got you covered.
I was worried. I was really worried.
But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, we will have post highlights. Beyond that, we'll get you all the good stuff that comes from there. Plus, come along with us as we get to speak with some guys with broadcasts. We'll have broadcasts from the game. Of course, we'll have a lot of guys there. We'll chat with them, get their takes from students to community leaders and more. Jay Wannell will be on the call with me from Dugout Sports in Fairfax. He'll be helping out to talk all about what's going on. So a lot of good things there. So beyond that, you can catch that and more on Rockfin. And again, Kate, so much to talk about when it comes to what we have. And I know we've talked about a lot, but there's just a whole lot of great content that's coming up and stuff that we haven't even mentioned yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the works that we're still working out. It feels like we've been talking about baseball forever, and practices haven't even started, which is a great thing. I mean, we're gonna be well prepared, and we're gonna be treating our Rockfin subscribers well. They're gonna be getting everything first before the public. So it's definitely something you don't want to miss out on.
That is for sure. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start wrapping up our time here. And as we do so, again, don't forget, like, subscribe, and spread the word here because, we're doing a lot to highlight these players, athletes, all these guys who put in blood, sweat, and tears into the game, including the coaches and even the umpires. Shout out to Dan Pomeroy once again. Big shout out to every one of them who do some great work. And so please go ahead and at least support us for highlighting that cause because we do, and we love to highlight it in any way we can. Plus, last thing, give support to the umpires if you can. Be an umpire. Truly, if we don't have umpires, we don't have the game. And unfortunately, we've seen too many junior varsity games, too many sophomore games, freshman games canceled because of not enough umpires. And how do we get better? We get the umpires there so we can get the games in. So please get out there. And if you're coming home from college, it's some quick, easy money to still be a part of the game. I mean, heck. Also, if you get the chance, check out how you can impact the game in various other places. So go out, be an umpire, then go out and call a few games, take a few pictures. So ultimately, a lot of ways to get in. Please thank an umpire, thank your coach, thank the players. Anyway, I'm getting off my soapbox here.
But that was good.
With that, Cade, another one in the books. Appreciate it here. I will say preview. We will have some top juniors. We'll have seniors coming on down the roster. Plus, we're about to have my list of top 3A exciting offenses that are coming out as well. A lot there. So hard to narrow down. So before, I will say in advance, before anyone wants to pin me to the wall, just know it was really, really hard to narrow this down. And so you can't put 20 in 10. That doesn't work. So that's coming on up here. And that's about all I got here, Caden. It's been a fun one.
Yeah, that was fun. Excited to be back next week. It's going to be here before we know it, and that's a good thing.
Hey, good luck with all the push-ups, sit-ups, and all that you have to do coming on up. Hopefully the Sox can get you some more wins so you dial that down just a bit. But,
I hope.
Fingers crossed for you. But for Cade and myself, Andrew Brown, thanks for joining in. We'll see each other next time, and until we do, stay safe on the base paths. Sayonara, guys. Bye-bye.